All right, hey, what's going on, guys? This is KR ChrisKiller here, bringing you back another special video with David at EHA. This is David at Streamham Arcades. Today's my interview. So, hi, David. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm in the middle of my day right now, running around like crazy.
Thank you for taking this time to do this interview. It's muchly appreciated for me and for the EHA community, for sure. Question number one. Can you please tell us how you started before you started making arcade machines?
Well, I built my first machine when I was just building it in my parents' house back when I was 16. I bought my first arcade game, which was actually a Neo Geo cabinet, back when I was 16, still in high school. And I just basically gutted it out and used our computer that we had bought. Actually, it was our first computer, I think. One of our first computers was an Intel Pentium 2, like a 266 megahertz, gateway computer, the big old cow print on it, the monitor and all that stuff. I think my parents paid about $2,000 for that back in the day. And I took that computer because then we had something newer by then, 4 or 5 years later, because I think they bought that in like 96, 97, somewhere in there. So anyway, so I took that computer, interfaced it with a keyboard just by hacking a keyboard and, putting breadboarding all the wires for all the different keyboard functions, up, down, left, right, all the buttons for 2 players. And then I interfaced that with a Neo Geo cabinet and basically made that Pentium 2 computer run. I think back then I was working with, oh gosh, I don't even know, maybe it was Arcade OS, I think, maybe is what I started out with back in the day. But that was one of the first machines I ever built. And from there, it just kind of put one up on, for sale, put that one eventually up for sale on eBay. And then it sold, and eBay had just started back then as far as what I knew it was. This is probably back in 90, I want to say 98, 99, somewhere in there when I first did that one. And then from there, I started selling them and started finding more and more ones. I used to work for an arcade company, so I had good access to warehouses full of old arcade machines. So I would take all those old arcade machines, clean out the cigarette butts and the mouse turds and everything else that was in there. And then I would just, interface our computer system and then breadboard this whole computer thing. This was back before iPacs. I mean, iPacs really changed what we did, and being able to do it in a much quicker pace. But I used to breadboard that stuff just for, for the first couple machines, glue everything in place just so one wire wouldn't pull out, because if one wire came out, the whole control panel would stop working. So it was a mess. It was a mess back then, but obviously we had to start somewhere, and that's kind of where it all began.
Yeah. Thanks. Question number 2. Can you please tell us how you started EHA, formerly known as Dream Home Arcades?
Well, in 2004, I was still working for that same arcade company, and we're doing a lot of repairs and servicing locally. And I just eventually took, I realized that I could sell these machines. They were doing pretty well on eBay. They usually sell pretty quick and for enough profit to make it worthwhile to do another one. So I just started doing them. And then I eventually said, okay, I think I can support myself. And at the time I was just recently married. I didn't have any kids. So it was just me, and my parents were nice enough to let me use part of their shop. My dad is a mechanic, so he has a shop that he works on cars. So he let me use part of that shop to start building these machines. So I just started, building 1, 2, or 3 and got them done, put them up for sale. And once I realized that that was a sustainable business that I could do, I just started selling them. And then I started Dream Home Arcades just because it started out as the dream machine, a dream of mine to be able to interface, even like 80 classic games with an arcade cabinet and then do that all together in one package. So it just started out in the garage, just like I said, and that same garage until about a year and a half ago, we were still working in that, adding in extra additions, of course, to add in new employees and have enough space to work, but it was still at that same location until the beginning of 2020, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Late 2019, I guess, is when we moved out here. So we've been here about a little over a year and a half, almost a year and a half.
Yeah, nice.
So that's how it started. And the reason that it changed, just to answer that question, why we went from Dream Home Arcades to Extreme Home Arcades, is because there was a bunch of other companies over the years that have propped up with the Dream in their name. Some like Dream Authentics. Of course, Dream Arcades came along, and they didn't like the fact that we had that name already and that were selling these machines and doing well. So we basically said, well, okay, well, what can we do to make it easy? So we'll just change our name. Instead of requesting these other companies to change theirs and dealing with legal battles, we just changed it to Extreme Home Arcades. And now actually we own both names. So you could refer to us as our legal name is still Dream Home Arcades, but we do all of our business and most of all of our stuff is done under Extreme Home Arcades to make everybody happy and we build extreme machines, so it fits well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially for the player base, you know, you
Mhm.
go it make these all these extreme like ideas, all the crazy customers request and also.
Right. So they're pretty extreme machines. Sometimes they go from pretty tame to pretty extreme. So we do one.
Yes. Question number 3: what kind of arcade machines do you build, and what kind of customers do you have, or are there any famous celebrities that you have dealt with in the past?
That's a lot of different questions. But I mean, you know what we build. I mean, we build everything from our little game boxes all the way up to the biggest megacades, and they all have the same hardware and guts in them. It's just a different package, depending on whether the customer wants to use their own TV or not. Whether, you know, with a pedestal or game box, they could use their own TV, and then it makes it a lot easier, obviously, to get in their house than a big monstrosity like a megacade. But the megacade has the advantage of having everything built into one thing, so it feels more like a real arcade machine. So there's positives and negatives to everything we build, but ultimately all these ideas and all these designs have come from customers just requesting, hey, can you do this, or hey, can you do that? And then we say, hey, this is a pretty cool idea, let's just keep running with this. And then we just build more and more and more of the same thing.
Yeah.
The question about celebrities, I mean, we have celebrities. I mean, if you want to consider Scantron a celebrity, he's a celebrity, he's a YouTube celebrity. And same thing with Derek Thomas. I can't discredit him. I think he actually has even more following than Scantron does, but they're both our YouTube celebrities now. But I mean, if you talk about, I mean, we built machines for Ninja, we built machines for Killer Keemstar, some of those big gaming guys. They own machines of ours. Plus, we built machines for professional football players, professional baseball players, movie stars, different things. But most of our customers are just average guys like you and I, you know, that want to relive these ideas in their, or these experiences that we had growing up, and now we can do it all in our house.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Did I answer all of them? Was that all the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 4. What's the most popular type of arcade machine do you currently build?
4-player megacade by far, and then add an active marquee in there nowadays. Pretty much, it seems like everything we do is active marquee based, and kind of a challenge right now because our active marquees are hard to come by because the company that built them for us overseas is having a hard time shipping them to us all in one big lot. So we have to have them shipped out in separate packages. So it's a lot of work, and they've gotten so popular that we can't keep them in stock. So our active marquee 4-player megacades are our most popular machine now.
Yeah, awesome. Mm-hmm. Number 5, what's the process of building an arcade machine? What steps do you have to do from this, like cutting the wood until you ship it out to customers?
Sure. So we start out with a sheet of HDP or which stands for high density particle board, which is our favorite wood to work with because it's really dense, really heavy, and it paints really nicely. So it has a nice smooth finish. So we can prime it and paint it really easily without a lot of fill and messing with it. But we can also build stuff out of laminates if we have to. So we do all sorts of that. So it starts with a sheet of wood, and then we build that cabinet's shape, whatever that is. It goes into paint, gets primed, gets painted, and then comes out of there. And then all the final artwork gets put on it, you know, making it look like it, you know, it's finished. And then all the guts of the system, the monitor, all the stuff, the control panel gets built separately. So that's kind of in a different area here where the control panels are all wired and everything's done there. And then it goes on a rack and basically waits for the cabinet itself to come out of paint, have that artwork ready. And then the whole thing comes together like a big symphony, you know, of stuff. And finally, if everything goes correctly and we have everything in stock, it all is put together and then finished up. So from start to finish, it's probably about a 3 to 4 day process.
Oh, that quickly.
Which it always surprises people because they're like, well, why do I got to wait 8 to 9 months for this? But that's because there's 300 orders ahead of your order, you know, so we have to build them in the order they come, and each one is a custom creation, but we're probably building anywhere from around, I would say 10 to 20 machines at a time.
Wow.
So, you know, so right now we're finishing up artwork orders for machine, you know, and in the process of all this, the custom artwork is being designed and that kind of stuff. But we're roughly about 4 months behind on artwork. So right now we're working on May's custom artwork orders. And then as that artwork comes here, then the machine is getting put together, finished up, and then it's ready for its artwork to again get slapped together and be finished. But usually you don't usually start building the actual wood part of the cabinet until the artwork is almost in its final stage and going to be coming here. Because there's no sense in having a ton of machines piled up, you know, that don't have any artwork or just sitting there in a warehouse. So we're usually trying to build them all about the same time that the artwork's getting finished up. Okay,
that's very interesting. So Question number 6. How long is the queue now if people make an order as of today?
Right now, I would say it's about still around 8 to 9 months. It was getting up to almost the 10-month mark for a while, but now we've brought in some more people and our CNC machines are producing the parts that we need, cutting them out and getting that ready a little bit faster. So we actually have been, right now I'm just looking, if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my big giant log of orders.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is only the ones that have artwork ready to go.
Oh,
So there's
wow.
probably about, I don't know if you can see this, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably at least 100 orders in this book. And then this book is all the orders that are still waiting to have artwork designed. So there's probably another 200 orders in here.
Oh, wow.
So that's all. This is the log basically of everything that comes in as an order form. So for example, like this guy's here, I won't leave it up there too long. His credit card information is probably on there. But anyway, so that is where it starts, and then it ends up in that book, and then finally, once the artwork's designed, over to this book. And now I forgot what the original question was, but anyway, it's about 8 to 9 months, and it takes that long because we have right around 300 orders in our queue right now.
300 orders. Wow, right before the holidays too. So
yeah, and we're actually trying to build some, like, the Nintendo game boxes where it looks like a big Nintendo controller. Yeah, those are really popular, or just basic black ones. Just something that we can have available to some customers that want something simple and something quickly for Christmas, as that obviously is up quickly. Well, I think back to your original question, I think we're a little bit ahead. So right now we're shipping out machines that were started in late February, March, and into April already. So our Christmas deadline was this year, what we projected was in February. So we're actually a few months, or at least a month ahead of where we thought we would be right now.
That's pretty good.
We were at around the 10-month build time, and now it's down to right around 8 or 9 months. So give or take, I mean, it's a lot of things to keep track of in 300 and some orders. And we don't know, sometimes how our supplies are going to go. So we're just trying to guess and do the best we can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Question number 7. What are the steps to finalize an arcade machine from an order?
Well, basically, once we get the artwork designed, I mean, when I take an order, so if we go back to the beginning of the process, I mean, just like we took one with you, we just got done your basic information when we started, right? Mm-hmm. And then, we may not have known your artwork, your button colors, all that stuff. I don't need to know that up front. So when I go through an order form, we just fill in all the basics, and then we have some idea what we're going to be building here. And then once that starts to come together and the artwork is designed, obviously you make your decisions on artwork, get that proof to make sure that's all perfect. And once we know what your artwork is going to look like, then obviously we can pick out your button colors, trim color, track wall color, fill in all the extra options, battleship control box, all these new things that may come down the pipe in the next 4 to 5 months that we don't even know about when we start an order. And then we can review all that stuff, kind of finalize it, and then get the machine done after that.
Oh, awesome. Question number 8. What steps do you take to keep an arcade machine clean when it's getting built to complete it and getting shipped out?
Well, this is a dusty place. We make a lot of dust here. In fact, if you look behind me, you probably see even on my desk here in the office area that I have some dust on it. Needs a good cleaning probably. But when it gets to as we're putting it together, obviously there's dust. But like I said, the beginning to end, from a sheet of wood till a final product, usually is done in about 3 to 4 days. Unless we have some of these machines, sometimes we do have some of them that are ready to go that may sit a little bit longer. But of course, as they're in final assembly, they're going to be vacuuming them and tack clothing and getting stuff ready, because the cabinet has to be extremely clean to be able to put the artwork on, otherwise it won't stick well. So everything gets cleaned as it goes through these multiple stages during that 3 to 4 day business time or build time, if that's the way it goes. So, I mean, ultimately, when it ends up in shipping, that's when it's basically finally tested, make sure everything's working as it should. We go through and test a couple games. The guys over there are notorious for playing games, probably longer than they should. But they got to test it, and that's part of their job. So we try to keep it under wraps. But, they're back there. They're going to be testing. They're going to be doing the final cleaning on it, blowing things out, vacuuming, that kind of thing. Before then, it's finally, bubble wrapped and braced and crated, basically, and finally wrapped up to try to keep as much dust off of it. Then we have, sometimes the machine might sit here for 3 days while we're waiting for final payment, or maybe the carrier's running late or whatever, and then it sits here for a couple of days. It may get another layer of dust on it. But, if it arrives a little bit dusty on the outside, still the inside is clean. At least it should be. If they're doing their job right, and I can't control everything, but I do my best. As the boss, I want to make sure everybody has the same build expectations as I do as far as my employees. So with 20 some employees nowadays, I mean, that's something we have to pass down to each one of them, but we take great pride in making sure that everything looks good. I mean, you throw down 5, 6, 7, up to 10 grand on a machine. We want to make sure the first thing when you open it is not a layer of dust on it.
Yeah.
Even though this is a dusty place. So we have
Yeah.
to work really hard to try to clean it up, make sure it's beautiful before it gets finally wrapped up.
Yeah, that's good to know. So
yeah.
This is kind of backdated from our previous question though, but this is question number 9. Since the COVID pandemic and a few select YouTubers from Scantron and D. Thomas from their videos, your business has been booming with sales and support. That said, how are you keeping up with all of your orders and support?
Well, I just take them as I can. I mean, usually on weekends, we'll get a lot of, because I'm not answering phones and stuff on the weekend. I have 8 kids and I have a wife, and I take great pride in my marriage and my family. So
yeah.
I have to take care of my family here at Extreme Home Arcades during the week, Monday through Friday. But then when I am home, then I'm taking care of my kids and I'm not getting interrupted usually by my phone. Now, I understand that people have issues on the weekends or questions or whatever. So then Monday is a very busy day, more than even the rest of the days of the week, because I'm catching up on all the things over the weekend, So we just try to keep up with all the emails as they come in. I probably get on average, I would say I probably answer at least 100 emails a day. So most of my job now, whereas it started obviously with just me doing everything, now is pretty much me answering emails, phone calls, taking orders, sometimes ordering some special parts that my other floor manager, doesn't know how to do or it doesn't do yet. So, I mean, just that kind of stuff. We just keep up with phone calls. I'm surprised. Oh, there you go. I just got a phone call. But this is what my phone sounds like all day long. You can hear this. So I unfortunately, whoever this is, I have to put them on hold for now, but I'll call them back when we get off our interview here, and then I'll keep up with them. So sometimes, I can get 10 phone calls or emails, or, I got 2 different phone lines here going off all day long. So I do my best to try to keep up with all of it. And we have other people here that can step in and answer questions, take orders, do some of the, the auxiliary stuff. And I take great pride in being the guy that you can usually call and talk to when you call here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's to talk to the owner whenever that you.
Right. That's unique in this world that we live in.
Very, very unique. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
I take great pride in that. I would love to be treated like that when I call other companies that I have products from. And of course, we know that that's a rarity. I mean, nobody does that anymore. So if people don't have to push numbers to get to me, I like it that way.
Yeah.
And that's how I like people to take care of me, but it doesn't usually work that way.
No.
So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Question number 10. With the community start of the Manana Project, how does it change EHA?
What was the question again, Chris?
With the community start of the Manana Project, how has it changed Extreme Home Arcades?
Well, it's probably changed a lot, because I mean, for the first time in our history of almost 20 years of building machines now, the Manhattan Project team is really taking over the software side of it. So I'm still adding in some things here and there and fixing bugs. And obviously we're working together with the Manhattan Project guys, Adam Bauer and stuff, obviously, and we cherish him greatly. I mean, all these guys that are our customers that are now doing our software and adding in new things and doing a lot of things that we just don't have the time for. I mean, obviously I'm on the phone most of the day, answering emails, taking orders, that kind of stuff. I don't have time to sit here and add Tomb Raider, something, to our system usually. So when the requests come in, those guys are the guys that take those on usually. So I'm very grateful for those guys and all the work they do. And I think it's really cool to see, obviously with you, Chris, and the other people that we have all in this team that we work together on. I mean, it really helps our software to continually be updated, new games being added. It's never the system that's ever stagnant or like, it's been a year, what's been added? Oh, hardly nothing. Obviously things are constantly moving on, and the Manhattan Project team makes that possible, because otherwise we are so busy building the hardware side of it and taking care of all the questions and all the different things with whether it's LED blinky or active marquee stuff or, all that stuff. The more complex they get, the more it puts on us. So we have less time then to work on the software. So we're very blessed to have those guys taking on the software and obviously promoting, between Scantron and Derek Thomas, they've sold probably, I couldn't even tell you how much they're worth and the amount that they've sold for us. So I'm very eternally grateful for those guys. And I think it ultimately shows that a company that really works together with their customers and has this kind of family rapport really works well, especially in this very niche market that we're in.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't say thanks enough to all those guys. And
to
anybody that helps promote our stuff. we do, I mean, our advertising budget for a year is probably $500. I mean, it's ridiculously next to nothing because we have more business than we know what to do with. So that's really neat to know that, you know, our company takes care of our customers take care of us. Everybody's happy. New customers come in. It's just like this family that just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the challenge is, of course, is just to try to keep up with it and try to make everybody happy. And that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge because it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I wanted to always still have this small family feel to it. And I think that the Manhattan Project guys and everybody on the forum and all that stuff, Chris Carson, I want to name everybody, you know, there's a ton of people that I can't name, but I mean, obviously everybody is working together to make a product ultimately from our customers and from us that is the best it can be and constantly evolving. I mean, it's not just going to be that type of machine that's just one thing and that's what it is. It's always changing.
Yeah, always changing. Yeah, that's always definitely
being modified, being upgraded, adding new things. I mean, now we're somewhere around 72,000 games. I don't even know if that's really even accurate anymore. I think it may be higher than that, but I don't really even know. It doesn't matter. I mean, at this point, we just keep adding more stuff. Doesn't really matter. It's more stuff than you can play in the next 3 lifetimes. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. That said, with the Omega Drive coming out in 2022, uses a new front end, Launchbox and Big Box. How do you think that'll improve the customer satisfaction along with moving forward with the software?
That's a tough one. I would say for the first time in 8 years of running with Hyperspin that if we're going to be moving into Launchbox, which it seems like we are, this is a whole new realm for us because I have gotten very good at working with Hyperspin and knowing the ins and outs and being able to help customers. So Launchbox is going to be a whole new realm. I'm going to have to get all these guys practically here, or at least on a Zoom meeting so they can actually fill me in on how things work, how things can be modified and changed around. And even though I think it's somewhat similar to Hyperspin, it's obviously a different front end. So it's like switching from Windows to Mac, you know, in some ways. So I don't know. I'm scared, but I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
It's a whole new thing. So who knows what's going to come down the pipe, but I think if we want to make our system as user-friendly and as bug-free as possible, eventually we have to move on with what's being updated and what people are working on and leave the older stuff behind. I mean, in 20 some years, we went from DOS, you know, Arcade OS, MAMWA. I'm trying to think of some other operating systems or front ends that we went through, but it's changed a lot, you know, and it has to, otherwise we'll be a dinosaur and we won't keep up with what's coming out and we need to. So important.
Yeah.
And we roll with it and I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, that's good. So that's always good. So with the supply chain issue in 2021 so far that we've been dealing with, how are you keeping up with your logistics and are you dealing with anything differently?
Well, like I mentioned earlier in our interview, the one thing that we're having some problems getting is our hyper marquees or our active marquee displays, which has been a challenge, but we've been able to overcome pretty much everything so far. I mean, we depend on a lot of different companies to give us what we need to do what we do. You know, we don't have mold injection machines here making joystick parts and doing all that stuff. We depend on Hap and Groovy Game Gear and Ultimark and all the rest of these big arcade part suppliers to be able to continually funnel their stuff to us so we can put this stuff together. So we don't know what's going to come down the pipe, but the neat thing is now that we're in like this 30,000 square foot facility, we have a lot more storage space. So we can change our ways of ordering and spending a lot more money up front to try to bring in more parts to try to weather any kind of storm that might come our way. But again, we are going to do just whatever we can do with what we have, you know, what we can get. And God willing, we haven't had any major disruptions in that, and hopefully we won't. And we'll just see how it goes. We'll just keep building what we can. And like I said, with over 300 orders hanging over our heads that need to get done, it's a big responsibility. That's a lot of money sitting out there. That's millions and millions of dollars with arcade machines to be built. So that's quite a responsibility. And I don't take that lightly, but I don't have control over everything. So I just do what I can do, try to stock up with what we can stock up on and keep everything in supply. So we're ready, even if things dry up for, you know, a month at a time, 2 months at a time, Lord willing, no longer than that. So we can keep building what we build.
Yeah, I know at least like at the grocery store it's like hard to get at least like some meats or at least like drumsticks, ice cream. So yeah.
Well, hopefully, I mean, arcade parts hopefully are a little bit more, I don't know. We depend on so many people, so it's hard to predict, but as long as we can get toilet paper and joysticks, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah. Do you have any plans on adding more videos to your YouTube channel and to make your website to look more modernized? If so, any time frame on that?
That's been a question since we've kind of got into this whole Manhattan Project and everything, is how much longer till we update our website and things. But the honest truth in it is that we have more orders than we know what to do with. And we'd love to update our website. And we've got, obviously web designers that do that stuff, but they're not the fastest in the world. And the website sells product, but it's actually really more YouTube and things like that. And most of it is being sold, or at least from what I can tell, is being sold by people just watching YouTube videos and watching our Facebook page and things like that. So it's like the website is important, but it's not the most important. So when you have only a limited amount of time and resources to put any one place, we're going to focus that mostly on where the orders are coming from, which would be YouTube, Facebook, things like that. And most of that stuff is, now being done by our customers. I mean, they just post videos and they show things off, and the forum has people sharing information there too. So we're trying to stay up with that, and at least be a part of that. Obviously, people love to hear from us on there too. So we have employees that are trying to handle some of that too, and keeping our presence up on those places. So the website can sometimes lag behind, and I get it, but again, we're focusing the resources where they need to go, where they're most useful, and the website is on the to-do list, and it still is. And it will continue to be updated. But again, not a lot of our business, I don't think, comes from there. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, we can look at statistics and stuff and we say, well, we get this many hits per day, this kind of thing. But I think really the free advertising on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff that we do, or that other customers of ours are helping do, is really where the money should be stuck, because that's where the most of the business is coming from.
Yeah.
But the website does need an update, no doubt about it. And it is being worked on. Yeah.
Okay. Question number 13. Where do you see yourself in 1 to 3 years at Extreme Home Arcades?
Well, we're actually looking at, we have tons of space here. We have over 30,000 square feet of space, but only half of it is heated. So half of it is cold storage right now, but we hope to be moving more into that cold storage building, insulating, getting it heated. Obviously, this is Wisconsin. We need heat. We need air conditioning. We have all 4 seasons. So there's a lot that needs to go into that to make that happen. But I would think we're pretty much already booked up for the next year as far as orders go. So we're going to continue to keep clipping at the pace we're doing here, bring in more people as we can. It's a constant balance, because we got to have all the finishers, that balance out the people in wood shop that's building the actual wood cabinet. So you're running this dance, and everything has to kind of work together. And as we add one here, then we need to add one here, and on and on and on. So it just keeps growing. And we've grown since we moved out to this location. We've doubled, our workforce and our CNC cutting and all that stuff. So we just keep ramping it up to try to bring that build time down. But I mean, to have a custom product made, I think mostly from what we see from our pending customers that are coming in, is that they don't mind waiting for 8 months. I mean, obviously they would love to have it tomorrow, but they're willing to wait that long. So, and we want to ramp this up in a way that doesn't lose the quality and the customer service and everything else. So you gotta work it all together. Otherwise we'll end up with a mess. So we're just going to keep working and building on what we have. And as the orders keep coming in, we're just going to keep ramping it up as much as we can, as fast as we can.
Yeah.
And keep the quality where it's at, and the customer service at it where it's at. That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you for your time for today. This interview meant a lot to me and to everybody else. So for those who are not following me on YouTube and Facebook, like, comment, subscribe. More videos on the way. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, guys.